Hey, hey. I'm coming over to Jessica's office, and here she is. Hey, everyone. I think you can hear properly. I got a new iPhone, so I'm pretty stoked about that. It's like really smooth operating. It's so good. But yeah, I just came over to Jess's office.
Hey, guys.
We'd been meaning to do our live stream earlier this week, but didn't. Wow, what a time of the year, Jess, right?
It's been spectacular, revealing, and fun, and a lot, but it's great.
Yeah. And over the past couple weeks, especially, it's like in a relationship, whether it's significant other or whatever, it's like you have different seasons of how life plays out. So it's been really cool with Jess and I, especially now this time of the year. But by this time of the year, meaning it's like Christmas, holidays, end of the year, all businesses are like trying to pay all their money so they don't get taxed on all their profit. And so it's just like the whole energy of the world is going toward just like consume, buy. Plus it's been 2020, so all the people who are like, oh, it's such a bad year, and they're just trying to feel
better
good.
by buying stuff.
Yeah, and like the holiday vibe. So that's been fascinating because as business owners, we end up also needing to be aware of those patterns and trends. And so, these past few weeks have been pretty wild, but we still make time for a live stream for everybody. I had another person reach out. We have a lot of different couples and individuals that reach out about these videos, and it's so cool to see that people actually want to create relationships based in agreements. For anyone watching, just are you starting to see the benefit of having a clearly defined agreement to a relationship? Just a simple yes or a like or something in the comments would be great. Because Jess and I have something very special to discuss today.
Ooh.
You ready for it, Jess? You wanna drop the fire like you usually? Jess is on TikTok, by the way. You should see some of the shit she's putting on there. It's so great. 'Cause it does like I don't understand TikTok yet. I haven't put my attention toward it, but every once in a while I get a little TikTok from her. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool.
Okay, so I just wanted to touch on selfish living.
What do you mean?
Which means living for the benefit of the self and nobody else. Which means just going to your job to make money for yourself, for your family, going into a relationship based on it making you feel good, having kids because that's what everybody told you should do, having kids because it's going to make you feel good, they're going to love you endlessly, and it'll create a purpose for you is to raise those kids. And every decision you make is based off of how is it going to benefit me? How is it going to add to my life? And that is your starting point with everything you do, all the decisions you make and everything you buy. Absolutely every aspect of your life is self-orientated.
Mm-hmm. And there's a tremendous downside of that. But before we get into that, there's also the inverse, which is the people who say, I just do everything for other people. I'm just so giving. All I do is give. And that's also, it's also fucked up because you're not realizing that there's an inherent balance that's required to understand what you need to be filled up and what you need to be stable. Because if you're always giving, you're just on empty and you're not actually giving anything. You're just doing it because you're addicted to that, or it was probably modeled to you in your youth from either parents or people around you to always be giving. Oh, just give to charity, give. Right? That is keeping you enslaved and you're not actually giving anything. So take off your charity goggles because that's just keeping you blind to reality. And now we're going to talk about the balance of it. But first, let's talk a little bit more about that downside, Jess.
Well, if you think about it, if you're only giving to make you feel better about your selfish life, then you're only giving for yourself. You're not actually giving for the support of another person or to help them get food or you know, whatever it is, like you're not actually giving for that person or for all life in general. Like you're only giving because then, you know, your karma's good for the week, or you feel better about your day.
You
get
think
this,
you're gonna get into heaven because you did a certain amount of things.
you get this
That type of thinking.
this like, oh, I feel so good now because I gave all this money. I feel so good. Like I don't have to like give anything for the next month because I just gave so much. Like now I don't even have to worry about other people because I already took care of other people. So now I can just continue to focus on myself and not feel bad about focusing on myself.
And there's a very clear downside to this. I mean, there's many, but it's at the end of the day, you're creating consequence. Like you're actively not setting up your life and the lives of those around you so that it's a win-win. It just becomes this game of like, I just got to give enough so I don't feel shitty. And then but that has real consequence on other people. Just today I noticed I had a pretty cool insight. So maybe 20 minutes ago I was just working on some stuff, you know, getting ready for the week, and Jess yelled to me. She's like, Mitch, I need your help with something. And it was immediate. I was just like, okay. And like, if I was in the middle of something super important, like she knew I was kind of like flowing in between. I wasn't like in hardcore work mode or like on a call. But immediately, this is how I know the change is real. I was like, okay, sure. She wouldn't be yelling out if she didn't actually really need something. So I go downstairs and she had something happen with the blender and it was like stuck on. But this is the difference. In the past, that first thought in my mind would have been, oh, damn it, she's breaking up my focus, or something like that. Oh, she needs something. Oh, like why can't I just be? But that's how I know the real change of everything that we've been working on over the past couple of years, and you know, doing DIP, using TechnoTutor, things like that, to actually change the human. Not just think about it, not just read a book about it, but actually change. So in those moments when you're faced with that thing that bothers you, such as Jess going, Mitch, can you help me with something?
Which I never.
I know.
Really.
Yeah. And it was like, in that moment, I just knew, oh yeah, okay, no problem. So I go downstairs, and it's not like I'm sulking, like, okay, what do you need help with, Jess? It's like, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? She's like, oh yeah, the blender thing got stuck. I'm like, okay. And she hands it to me, right? So it was like, inherently I knew, because if I didn't go down there with that intention of just like, sure, what do you need help with, Jess? If I didn't, imagine all the consequence that would have come. If it was like, oh, Jess, what do you need now? Then she would have felt some type of way of like, well, damn, like, I mean, I need your help, but like, I didn't mean to piss you off. And so it's like this whole storm of shit will happen if you don't have a clear starting point of actually just giving as you want to receive. Because there's going to be some time a week from now where I'm like, Jess, I need your help. But then I don't have to worry about, oh, Jess, I know last week you asked me to help. And it's like this tally game of like who's winning, who's got +1 and all that shit. Like, no, it's just literally give as you want to receive. Ramsey, I don't know what a birth chart is. No thanks. But we appreciate you watching. With its giving as you want to receive, now it's like, I can just trust with Jess that there's no back chat or none of that like needing to win. And here's what's really cool. So guess what happened? I go down there. The smoothie thing is like twisted on there. She's like, yeah, I can't get it off. Like, can you help? And I'm like really cranking on it. I'm like giving it everything I got. And I'm like, this thing is really on here. This is crazy. And I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to get it off, but I'm like looking for a towel, you know, maybe a different tool. And then Jess comes up with this idea. She's like, no, how about you hold the bottom and I grab the top? And I was like, all right, I don't know if that's going to work. And we did it together. And I was like, that is teamwork. That is so freaking cool. And so I realized it's a freaking smoothie cap. Like, who cares, right? Well, you should care, because think about this. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. I'm going to say that once more, just so it sticks. The way that you do anything is the way that you do everything. And so how Jess reached out to me, hey Mitch, could you help me? And how I just went down there and helped, and we together resolved the issue, because it was actually a pretty decent issue. It's like, it's like a thing that actually needed to be resolved.
Potentially broke the smoothie machine.
Yeah, and had this awesome smoothie that was just in there, and we're like, how are we going to get it out? But now I get to enjoy my smoothie, and we also learned a very practical lesson of just like practical teamwork. And it's like that kind of stuff happens all the time with us, but it's just the most recent example of it. But how this relates to you watching is because right now you do have relationships with other people, and they might be kind of shitty. That's on you and your self-honesty to assess how shitty it is or how great it might be. Because there's a lot of people out there who are developing these relationship agreements, and it's so cool to see. Because that's how you actually really start to level up once and for all, is when you have a partner walking by your side to call you on your bullshit.
But it's also a way to be in a relationship without the starting point of self. It's a way to be in a relationship with the starting point to be something outside of you, like something that you two want to build. A way to see, like, I want to be in this agreement because I know that we will keep each other accountable to be the best versions of ourselves. And that's outside of you. That's not a selfish, like, oh, this person's gonna make me feel so good, this person makes me feel a way that nobody else has made me feel, and I just want to keep feeling this way. I want them to keep giving to me, and this just
make
works.
Me feel like a princess, or make me feel like a real man because she respects me. It's like, if your respect is just based in selfishness, like, that's stupid. Like, that's not real respect. Real respect is seeing the equality in one another, and then every single day applying yourself to actually live that, even when shit gets really hard. Like, that's real respect.
Yeah, so like a big point that I saw was, if you can live with a starting point that's not self-driven, but actually you fundamentally look at how every decision you make affects the rest of the world, you can truly start to create an impact with each individual decision you make. And it may not seem like that's even possible. It may not seem like you could make any type of effect. But I'm going to tell you right now, individually, if we can all start that process, then collectively we can make a huge difference. But it starts with the individual, because if you don't make that difference, then it doesn't matter if 100 other people do, because you didn't. See, you're still contributing to selfish living, and you're creating abuse in the world, because that's what abuse is founded on, is selfish living. People making a selfish choice to rape a child because they wanted to feel good.
Which happens every fucking day, whether you think about it or not. It's still there.
Billionaires focusing on building their business instead of the livelihoods of their employees, or the contributions that they could be making to systems that create equality within people's basic needs. They don't think that way. They only think about the money that they're going to be making. And that goes with a lot of things. And I know that there's some people who see like Tony Robbins, for instance. Like, he's a philanthropist. He donates billions of dollars. Like, I see that. But what is that doing? What is that billions of dollars doing? Is it actually creating a system that provides fundamentally food for each individual over and over again? Or is it just to provide food for them once? You see the difference there? Like, is he actually creating a system to provide basic needs, or is he just temporarily satisfying them, creating a dependency on him, which is actually selfish gain?
Yeah. So overall, it's like, you're going to have to investigate it for yourself, of what the downside is of you just being self-interested. And it's not to say, well, just serve other people and just forget about me. It's like, no, it's about realizing first, you do have to stabilize yourself. Absolutely. Then it's about realizing, as individuals, we're all our own individual. And so 1 + 1 = 2. It's not like, oh, I'll just give 50% and you give 50%. We'll kind of meet in the middle. It's like, no, I will give 100. I'm going to support you to give 100 as well. And then together we can build something that we've never even seen before on this planet, which is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Go
It's
ahead.
one big thing I see is people don't understand that by limiting yourself and not being the best version of yourself, you are being selfish. Because then you're not able to give your best version of yourself to the world.
Yeah.
And so by choosing to be overweight, by choosing to have unhealthy lifestyle, by choosing to not work through your trauma and abuse, by choosing to not have a high vocabulary, by choosing to not be able to process information or think critically, by choosing to be in a job that only contributes to abuse or only gives you the money you need to survive, you know, all those things, like by limiting your ability to be the best that you could be, that is a selfish decision. So when you take the time to be the best that you can be in the most effective and efficient way, that's not selfish. That's actually the most giving thing you could do for the world, because then you can go out into the world, be the best that you could be to build the best systems possible so every person's basic needs are met. So all abuse is gone. Like, you'll never be able to do that if you are not effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for those that can hear this, investigate what we're doing with Self-Perfected. You can go to the website, www.self-perfected.com. Check out our podcast. We have YouTube links. Like, just investigate what we're doing and reach out, connect with like-minded people, because it takes a group of us to do this. And one other thing I want to point out is as we enter kind of the end of the year, and it's like people are into New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing, look for yourself, specifically with having a partner, a significant other, and do your best to imagine what the best version of that looks like. Like, in your self-honesty, the best version. Not like, oh, she's like a blonde hair, blue eyes, she's shorter than... Not that shit. That got programmed into you from Hollywood and the porn you watched. The real thing to focus on is, how do you show up with them, and what is your agreement as equals?
What do you want to build by being together?
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to create?
Mm-hmm. How can you best be supported? How can you support them? That's the kind of stuff that's worth reflecting on, especially as you take a few days off from work, things like that, over Christmas, New Year's. Like, really look at that, because for me and for Jess, over this past year, building this relationship agreement and doing it from the right starting point has made all the difference. The reason we're in this beautiful home, the reason that we're making more money than ever, the reason that we have more responsibility and the best group of friends and network that we've ever had, is because we got clear on our relationship agreement. Because it holds me to a higher standard and it holds her to a higher standard. And that is what I wish for all of you. And whether you're watching this live, you watch the replay, or you're watching this 5 years from now, the same principles apply, and there is equality between partners. But you have to take the responsibility, and you have to do the work to figure that out for yourself. If you don't know what to do, check out our YouTube or reach out, because this is what we're here for. This is part of what we take on.
Yeah, absolutely. So really look at where you're making selfish decisions and understand in depth the consequences of that, which is perpetuating abuse in this world, and know that you can be the best version of yourself and then choose to give that to the world. And that is the ultimate way to not live a selfish life. Like I said, if you're choosing to live an unhealthy life, and a life with no purpose, and a life where you're not to your fullest potential, you are living a selfish life. Even if that means that you're giving to charity every day, that you work at a homeless shelter every day, and you're giving yourself, and then you are literally dying because you're not taking care of yourself, you're selfish. Because you're not giving to those people the best version of yourself. You're giving them a half-assed 50%, 25% suffering, dying version of a human being. And that's not an example to set. You're not able to give them the best that you could. Like, that's selfish. Because you feel good by giving to other people. So it's all feelings based. Like, you're literally just doing it to feel good. So wake up, realize where you're living selfishly, take responsibility of your own life, be the best that you can be, and then choose a purpose that truly does take everybody into consideration.
That's all for today.